Okay, you guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the Haute Hustle Show. I'm Jeneth Blackard.
And I'm Leonka Reyna.
And today we're talking with Jamie Wozny, which isn't pronounced right at all, but we had it in the card, so I just had to say it because I'm expecting this conversation to be so wowsy that I just had to do it. Jamie, welcome. You can pronounce your name properly if you want.
It's totally fine. What an introduction. It's Wozny, like the Wizard of Oz.
Wozny.
And
Oh,
your
I love
name
that.
that's even better.
Wozny. It's easy to remember that way, yeah.
Yeah, that's fabulous. I chose Jamie for the show. This is my first conversation with Jamie. As you've known, I've done this for quite some time, so I often will have this whole preamble on how I met them. But I chose Jamie to be on the show because she really works with empowerment and really that full body empowerment. She's a light worker and she trains people to be better light workers. So we can talk a little bit about that as well. Jamie, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. There's something sometimes where I just fall in love with somebody because of their vibe. You know, I can just tell they're awake and for the lack of a better word, right? And they are here. And that is their purpose and their mission to really change people in the world. So I chose you because when I looked deeper into your work, I thought, wow, she really is all about empowerment and from the place of that energetic lightness. So I'd like to start just a little bit with you sharing, how did you become a light worker? And maybe even share a little bit on how you work with light workers.
Yeah, no, thank you. I love what you're saying. And we can even speak to the feeling someone's vibe too, because I think that's the medicine at the end of the day. You know, it's like we can try so hard, but it really is our energy that's the change maker. And then it's like, oh God, I can rest a little bit in my day knowing that like that's the impact. Gosh, how did I become a light worker? Well, 10 years ago, I had my own physical symptoms going on that at the time Western medicine, I'm a fan of balance, but at the time it wasn't enough for what was going on with me. And so I went on my journey. I was like, okay, I met a Reiki master. It's so funny to think about now, but I had no idea what that was. And was like, okay, I could use some energy healing. And so I just tried everything I possibly could, you know, probably all the things everybody's tried that you'll mention. And then just it became a fascination and a curiosity. And I just studied and learned and became passionate. And here I am today.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of good to hear because usually I feel inadequate. No, just kidding. Because I haven't had like a near-death experience or something like that, thank goodness. But so many people come to this work because they've had to do so much healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of nice to know, yeah, there's some of us that just follow the energy to get to exactly where we are.
Yeah. Well, my body I was dealing with a lot of like unexplained mystery symptoms, which I feel like a lot of light workers are. And
Interesting.
we're sensitive souls as well. And so, you know, I didn't know, oh, I could be picking up on other people's energy or tuning into something, or, oh, my people pleasing was causing this because I was overgiving, or, you know, there's so many
Yes.
reasons.
Yes.
And so, yeah, was that fun? No, it's probably one of the harder times of my life experiencing that and going into a system that told me, I mean, the amount of times I heard, we don't know what's wrong with you. I'm sure you guys and people listening can relate to that if you've experienced
Yeah.
symptoms, and it's scary. And then, but it does, that's why I'm so big about empowerment, because I had to go on this journey of like, you got to look somewhere else, child. You know, because
Yeah.
you're not getting what you need with the current, how the current system is set up.
What made you look to, and I know that Reiki is like, and you're, you know, one of those words, and one of those words that like, if I first heard it, and I think it's funny that you kind of laughed about it, You're like, I didn't even know what that was, because that's how I was on this journey, right? But what made you kind of turn to that way? Like, did you just hear it somewhere? Were you seeing other people experiencing, you had seen somebody, experiencing kind of healing, or was it just kind of in your realm? I mean, some things just keep showing up for you, and you're like, okay, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, this is the honest answer. I think life led me here. Life
Yeah.
led me to that
Yeah.
because I was so opposite of this. Like, I grew up thinking Diet
Yes.
Coke was like super healthy, and like that's what you do when you're trying to be healthy.
Yes.
And I remember, it's funny, I had a roommate at the time who I just thought was cool. It had nothing to do with anything other than we vibed. And she would shop at Trader Joe's and she meditated. These were the two
Yeah,
things.
yeah. That's really funny.
First of all, I thought it was crazy you sit by yourself for a half hour in the bedroom. I was like, this girl is missing out on life. Like, I need to
Oh, I'm
talk to
right
her
there
and
with
start
you.
an intervention here.
Yeah, right,
And the other
right.
thing,
That's
I thought
awesome.
Trader Joe's was ridiculous at the time because
It's
you
really
couldn't
funny too.
couldn't use coupons. And I was like a coupon queen.
Girl, yes, I'm right there. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And so the irony is, well, first of all, I love Trader
Yes,
Joe's now because
right.
it brings me joy. I just
Right.
go for the awesome people. And
The
I
good
meditate
smells.
clearly. And yes, and the free coffee samples. But I think like I needed to be around somebody. Like she was this first thing that I feel like the universe put in my
Yep.
life
Yeah.
that I needed to be around it and like have these little things sprinkled in. And then now I am that, which is so crazy, So
It's
anyway,
so crazy and
fabulous.
yet so not crazy. And that's what's so magnificent and beautiful about the whole journey. And about you sitting here across from us today talking about, all of these wonderful things, right?
Yeah, can
Yeah.
you take us into the tools that you use to actually change people? If you were working on people pleasing for one of your clients, can you take us into some of the tools and processes that you use to help them become aware to change that?
Yeah. So I have a very large toolkit. Just being so passionate about it for 10 years, it's a blessing and a curse because some people are like, I just use this thing or these couple things.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's an incredibly intuitive process.
Sure.
I am a seer through and through, meaning psychic intuitive. And so when I sit in a group or I sit with a person, that's the first tool I'll use, where I'll be like, I'll even ask in my mind. I learned this from one of my teachers. I'll say, what's the one thing this person needs to hear that will give them the biggest shift? And I just get quiet and I listen. And then, a lot of times I'm huge on assisting people to process their emotions, just that. I find that over and over again in my groups, we're taught to not feel our things or to feel shame around it or that it's wrong or we're too big or we're too much. So just using the emotional tools, the somatic tools to say, how do I move an energy? How do I move an emotion through my body so that I can hear my own heart, so that I can connect to my own inner wisdom? I'm a big fan of EFT.
I am too.
Yeah, I'm
I'm not any longer, really. I found other tools that are faster.
Oh, you have to fill me in.
Yeah, right.
It's funny too. Sometimes I'll pause on things and then they'll come back in. And
Yeah.
EFT's kind of been like that for me.
Yeah, me too.
Because sometimes I'll sense, okay, a person needs just this little opening. So I'll meet them with something I may have used back then that's
Yeah.
a little more accessible or something like that. But yeah, and consciousness healing, just reminding people of a lot of it's teaching and remembering too. Just the tool of like, hey, did you know self-love is available to you? And by existing on that level of consciousness, we can heal our body. And explaining it like we would have when we were younger and didn't know. So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's one question away to change a body. Years ago, I joked that
Love
I got
that.
somebody pregnant from just a conversation, right?
I do remember that.
Right? That was
Yeah.
crazy. Two women actually
Yeah.
got pregnant that same year. And really what it came down to was getting them so energetic aligned with nurturing themselves.
that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes there's other things you got to open up some energy in certain areas, but you know, I find that wow, you know, and I, you know, clearly I didn't get her pregnant, but I think it was so funny
But
that
they struggled.
you know
They were really
fight
struggling
for years.
Yeah, getting
Yeah.
pregnant
Yeah.
and that awareness.
It's so awesome. Well, would you like to just open the lineup for some callers so you can work with them and process, or do you want to kind of go
Let's do
deeper in
this.
this? Okay, great.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then we can, even if there's an extra question we want to go into or whatever, I'm happy to flow.
Nice.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So go ahead and raise your hand to take Jamie for a session. You can also write it in the chat. Jamie, is there like what kind of information do you need to know to begin? Should they just give you a couple sentences about what the issue is that's going on?
Yeah, I like to know people's I understand we all have a story, but we don't necessarily need to go too deep into it for this to work, which is nice. So just briefly kind of I always say if you have a magic wand and you could wave it, is there a desire of like, Jamie, I really want this thing. It's like so deeply on my heart. And then maybe if you're aware of what's blocking it, you don't know, we'll talk it through to bring it to the light.
Nice.
Great. All right, you guys, just go ahead and raise your hand and we will get started right now. All right, Kim, it looks like you're the first pop-up. Kim, go ahead, ask your question.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Kim.
Hi. So I feel like mine is more about being seen and being heard, like coming out into not hiding. Maybe it's not hiding.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. That was my journey too. Are you aware of what the pattern is that's occurring, or even just speak to what you're aware of? Like, why are you sharing that with me?
I procrastinate. So it's like I like go, like I'll start. And then it's kind of like I kind of hold back. I feel like some of it's around like support, like having the support that I need to do it.
Mm,
Um, and then like I can get stuck in the technical stuff, but I feel like I have that part to kind of squared away and taken care of now. And now it's just more of me not worrying or caring about what other people think or the
yeah.
judgments and all of that.
Tell me about the support, how you feel unsupported in it.
Um, it's like if I go to my family, it's not for my family because
Yeah.
it's out there, so it's
Yeah.
different, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that I don't feel like I can share it with them. I've tried and that doesn't work. So then I feel
Yeah.
like all the judgments and that starts coming. I'm like, okay, those aren't your people, so stop doing that.
Yeah.
Um, and then, but just starting to like get out there. Like before I raised puppies, I raised Imperial Shih Tzu for 15 years and I had
Mhm.
no problem at all sharing them. Like I had no
Yeah.
problem at all doing that, even though there was a lot of judgment and criticism on doing that even, but it didn't faze me. Like I just did it.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah.
this whole like spiritual other stuff is like, I don't know. It's really interesting.
It makes sense. I was there too. I understand exactly how you feel. Okay. Where are you? Because we're just meeting. So where are you on your self-love journey when I say that to you? Is that like, I practice that? I don't know, James.
Um, I feel like I'm there a little bit. Like I'm there, like I feel like I'm more loving towards others more than myself.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
can show it for others, but I have a hard time like doing it for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if we experience the judgment and criticism innocently, that's where people can meet us, right? When you're growing up,
Mhm.
those neural pathways, so the wiring in your brain is going to be you're going to do that to yourself. And so we don't see, and so I want you to see that you're doing this innocently. We don't see that, and I did this too. When we go out there and shine our light and be our beautiful spiritual self with our gifts, we're scaring ourselves. We are criticizing ourselves. We are judging ourselves
Mm.
because it was what we were trained to do. So I'm going to show you a possibility that's like over here that maybe one day, hopefully today, we'll have a miracle, or I'm just saying like this is a possibility you can get to. That when you're over here and you found this self-love portal where you support and accept and love yourself for who the totality of who you are, it doesn't even come into your field other people's judgment and criticism. And if you're aware that they're judging and criticizing you, there's this like, and I'm going to say magical, but like there's this energy field, protective vortex around you that just doesn't let it in. That's why they say love is medicine, love is healing, because your love for yourself is an energy field. Science has shown us that. So it takes up the whole space of your body. And then that other stuff can't even come in. So this is where it takes humility and so much compassion for ourselves to say, okay, I learned this pattern of criticism and judgment. And so, whoa, could I be open to the possibility that maybe I'm doing it to myself to keep myself safe from their perceived judgment and criticism? And that the next level of your medicine, which I'm going to prescribe to you of self-love today, which we'll talk about in a minute, that if I do this, the fear of judgment and criticism is actually not going to happen because I've got my own back. So what do you hear in that?
It all comes from the heart. And I know when I feel like I'm in my heart space and like things come down and through the heart and it goes out, like I feel untouchable and unstoppable.
Untouchable.
Yeah.
That's it. I felt it when you said that, of like, that's what you're looking for, is that we think we're looking for it in other. And yes, on one level we are. I don't want to get super weird and out there because we are humans. But it's always a reflection of what am I looking for in myself, my own self-belief, my own self-patience, my own self-compassion, to be untouchable, to be the door opener, to like, whoa, things are coming in now. Or like you were saying, procrastination, that's so innocent. That's just protecting you from more of the criticism and judgment, you know? So here's my question for you. If right now this whole group and your family and your friends could say one thing to you or two things that would make you feel so safe going out there, you know, like you were saying, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I'm in your gifts, in your soul purpose, in the truth of who you are. What could your family say to you? What could we say to you that would be like this weight off of your shoulders? Okay, I can go do whatever I want to do now. And I'll give you some examples if nothing comes to you, but I want to see what you say first.
I know. I'm like sitting here like, like you got this. Like go do it. Like you got this is what comes to me.
Yep. So if your family, when you were just like, guys, this is what I'm going to do with my life, and they were all like, you got this, would that be like, oh, I can go do this now? Or do you need to hear anything else? And that might be it. I'm just picking your brain.
That feels like that's what it is.
Okay. Cool. So I'm going to invite you to put your hand on your heart. And for anybody else listening where this resonates, because we all come together with matching energies. I just want you to say to yourself right now, and you don't even have to believe it yet. We're just trying this on for size. You got this. So Kim, if you want to say it, you don't have to say it out loud, but if you want to try it on and say it out loud.
Like say, you got this, or I got this.
To yourself, like little Kim, you got this.
You got this.
Yeah. So I'm going to say it to you. You got this.
You got this.
And if anyone else wants to, you got this to Kim in the chat, let her know if that resonates with you. So this is what I'm going to invite you to do this week, Kim. This is going to be, I'm not going to say this is going to be easy right away, because it might be challenging because of how we were wired, how you were wired. I'm going to share a little story. I was in the kitchen and I was super triggered by my partner, and I was enraged, and I paused, because this is a tool I share with many people. And I was cooking and pissed, and I said to myself, what do you need him to say to you? Like what I just did with you. What do
Mm-hmm.
you need him to say to you right now? Like, what are you pissed that you're trying to get out of him? And it was, I wanted him to say, I care, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not alone. And so I disconnected myself from that external reality momentarily. This doesn't mean we don't take action steps that are intuitively guided in the outside world, but I cooked my food and I turned it to myself and I said, Jamie Lois, I care. And I repeated it for about 4 or 5 minutes, not from my head, from my heart. I
Mm-hmm.
care. I'm here, sweetie. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I care. I care. I care. You know, I got this. You got this. You got this. You got this. You got this. Within 4 minutes, my energy completely shifted, and the person was still the same, in the same energy. I had a vortex of peace around me, unaffected. He even was like, you're different. What did you do? You were just cooking your dinner. And so we can hear self-love and we're like, what does that do? Or do I just look in the mirror and say, I love myself? But when we give ourselves what we're craving from the outside world, all of a sudden I didn't need it from the outside world. And then what happens is when we're whole from within, the outside world can just easily give us things. So I was able to say to him when I calmed down, hey, you know, it really helps me when you say to me, I care, or you're not alone, because I could say it from a place of wholeness. And now he just knows, if he freely wants, you know, he can say those things too, but he doesn't need to for me to be okay. So this is something, when you're triggered or outside of being triggering, this will help you move through to be untouchable.
That's
That's super
beautiful.
helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Cool.
So something, can I say
Go ahead.
something and then I'll let you, because it's bursting outside of me.
Yes.
Sometimes it is just one question away. I had a coach that looked at me directly in my eyes and said, you can do this. Can
Yep.
you not? And we were talking about like going out into the field and really changing something, right? And I was kind of doubting it, and I was being outside of myself instead of actually in my own body. And when he said it that way, like, you can do this. Can you not? Like, there
Mm-hmm.
are people out there doing this, like the magic and the possibilities all the time. You know, what's so special about you that you would not be able to do this? And that one question really changed me. I was like, yeah, of all the people in the world, of course I can do this. And I think when you get that and you get to, yes, I can, I got this,
Yes.
you know, it's really a difference. So it's beautiful.
Good. Beautiful.
Right.
Thanks, Kim.
All right. Thank you, Kim. That was great. Our next caller is Manisha. I think I said it correct. Manisha?
Yep. Yes, you
Great.
have. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you. Um, uh, Jamie, I'd love some help with the tool, perhaps. I have had, what I've put in the chat is abundance in all areas of my life.
Mm,
And what I've experienced is a lot of betrayal. So
mm.
from my father, from family, ex-husband. So that's one of the things I've been dealing with.
Yeah. Okay. And your abundance in all areas of your life, what does that look like?
Well, I'm 65 years old, so I'd love to have an amazing, loving partner. So I've been single for more than maybe 25 years, so a long time. And
Mm,
yes, so in a loving relationship, um, I'd love to do a lot of philanthropic projects for empowerment of women in my late mom's name. So just having abundance, meaning I could do everything I want to. Lots of help other women. So that's where I'm stuck with the betrayal has reduced me to not being, not feeling supported actually in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And be with this energy. It's beautiful that it's here, not feeling supported. So I'm just going to start here with you, and we're just going to say to ourselves, I'm so sorry you haven't been supported for a very long time. You can say that out loud with me to yourself.
Okay. I'm so sorry that I haven't been supported all this time.
Yeah. I'm so sorry that nothing I do gets me support.
I'm so sorry that nothing I do gets me any support.
I'm so sorry that I long for this relationship,
I'm so sorry that I long for this relationship,
but it will just betray me.
but it'll just betray me.
Yeah. So I want it, but I may as well protect myself from it too.
I might as well protect myself from it as well.
And I'm sorry I've had to experience all that.
I'm sorry I had to experience all this.
I want you just to tune in. Whatever comes is fine. This little one that feels betrayed. Are you aware of what she would need to eventually one day feel safe letting this feeling go, process, resolve? Just kind of ask her, what would you need, sweetie, for us to heal this one day?
So the minute you started asking me was, a very big hug kept coming into my mind. So I'd love a very big hug.
From an actual person, from yourself, from both?
From both.
Yeah. Okay. So if we say to her, and you don't have to say this out loud, but just in your mind, I'm gonna find us. Very big hug, sweetie.
Very big hugs.
Do you feel safe eventually letting this go if we always have very big hugs for the rest of our life?
Yes, yes, yes.
So let's ask her, how would she like to go about getting these very big hugs?
So the answer I'm getting is to trust in the divine process and divine timing
Mm.
and surrender.
Was there any way she wants to practically go about also getting the hugs?
I have no clue. No, it's just to believe in myself, but no practical.
No practical? Okay.
But I could
Perfect.
take.
So, between you and her, what is the opposite of not feeling supported?
Feeling loved.
Feeling loved. And what's the opposite of betrayal to you and her?
Again, feeling loved.
Feeling loved. Okay. Could she open to the possibility that that could live in her first?
Yes.
And that the world could follow second?
Yes.
Okay. So, what would she need to hear? Kind of like we just did with Kim. But what phrase, what word, what anything would she need to know she was loved?
You're awesome. I don't know. This kept coming to me.
You're awesome. I love that. Okay, so let's try it on for size. Let's go, and I'll say it with you. Well, first of all, let's see. Manisha, you're awesome.
Manisha, you're awesome. Thank you. I'm sort of sorry to interrupt. I'm so visualizing my little self just jumping with joy.
Yeah. I want you to say this 5 times to her, and everybody can join in too energetically. You're awesome.
You're awesome. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, I want you to say one more thing.
Hmm.
I want you to say out loud, it's possible
It's possible
that I can be so awesome,
that I can be so awesome,
that I could have always been so awesome,
that I could have always been awesome.
and they didn't have the capacity to feed that back to me
And they didn't have the capacity to feed that to me
at the same time that I was awesome.
at the same time that I was awesome.
Yeah. Good. Take a deep breath there. So just like Kim, I want you to see if you can play with this week
Hmm.
and drink in this medicine and then let it slowly expand from there, because yeah, that's going to open up you feeling more loved from you.
Hmm. Thank you so much. Sort of meant to get this healing from you. Thank you, ladies, because I'm actually joining you from London. And I
Thank
just,
you.
stumbled upon, and I was checking the time difference. And then, yeah, so thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
And can we just all give her a virtual hug?
Yay!
Yay! Big hug.
Oh, Deneth, I'm glad you just said that. Can I teach a self hug real quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it like Happy Days?
It reminded me. Well, this is actually a somatic healing tool, and they've done studies where it sends the exact same neurotransmitters up to the brain as if someone was giving you a hug.
Okay. Nice.
So, hand under the armpit,
Does it matter which one?
doesn't matter which one.
Okay.
And you can flip flop one hand over and on the shoulder. And so just kind of relax into this. This is a self hug. And I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and all I want you to do is notice. So, could you notice what it feels like to be hugged by you? So, when I ask that, I want you to notice the arm that's underneath because it's being hugged.
Oh.
Just notice that underneath arm, notice that sensation. Could you notice what it feels like to be hugged by you? Just take a breath there. And then could you notice what it feels like to hug you? So that's becoming aware of the arm on top. This is you saying, I got this. So we're just noticing that. Good. And you can sit like this for 60 seconds a few times a day. Calming the body, sending love transmitters to the neurotransmitters to the brain. Good.
That was never had somebody teach a self hug before.
You know,
Here you
Jamie,
go.
some of these, we kind of joked earlier when we started about, your friend sitting in meditation and missing out on life, right? So, but we were joking, but some of these ideas have become, and I'm so excited about it now, much more mainstream. In fact, I just watched, and shout out to J-Lo, lover, hater, whatever, right? But she actually has the whole new documentary, right? And I thought it was really interesting that she had the whole thing was called The Greatest Love Love Story Never Told. And really everything came back to loving yourself. And she had the younger version of herself, and she's sending love to her younger version. And so if that's not a testament to this type of work, today, and how important it is to love our little selves, and to send love to ourselves, then I don't know what is, right? Because she's super mainstream. but whatever that is, it's like this work is permeating throughout the world, and these different tools that you're sharing here are just so important right now. And I thank you for that. And do you have anything to share on how we can continue to share this with more people?
Yeah, and I think, I'm super spiritual, so I don't necessarily need the science, but I appreciate the science and the research. And I think nowadays, one of the women I've studied with over the last few years was originally a Western medical ER doctor. And then she got into energy healing and all of this. And she realized that there is research and science now, when we give ourselves compassion, when we give ourselves love, it actually physically heals the body. They've had, stories of cancer healing, suicidal depression healing, panic attacks and anxiety healing. And the quest I'm on right now, same thing. I'm learning healing through compassion as well, which is why I'm sharing all of this. This man who literally traveled the world, studied every modality, became a monk, shaved his head, did all the things, and realized plant medicine's like every possible everything, and realized that through everything he studied, compassion was the quickest, self-directed compassion was the quickest, easiest thing to shift your finances. Like, this is why it's like, it can be in any
big.
area. Shift your
Yeah.
relationships. Like, I could have had an entire night of not talking to my partner, but because I gave myself medicine in the kitchen, I had a beautiful night with him. So I think when we realize the profundity of this, it's not just some like thing.
Right.
It brings in abundance. It shifts your bank account. It brings intimacy into relationships. It expands your business. It heals your body. Like, what the heck? When we know that, it's like, well, why not find the phrase, I wish my family would have told me, and give it to myself? And if anybody can relate, I know for me, I used to be so mad at self-love because I always thought it meant I had to settle. I was like, oh, so I just have to like do this for myself. Like, that sucks. I want the big hugs and all the thing everybody's talking about. But the irony is, when we give it to ourselves first, it doesn't mean we have to settle. It just means I get to go on this beautiful love affair with self, and others can follow suit because I'm whole and complete. I don't have any neediness or graspiness, and then they can love me freely,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, that makes me, and every time I always say I want to do cartwheels, that makes me so excited. I feel like we should be yelling this from the rooftops.
Yeah.
Friends that are on the line today, share this, right? Like, that's what changes the world, is when we're self-healing so that others can, so we're putting that out to the world so that the world can change with it. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, when we're healed, then others can follow suit because we're not pulling or having expectation or need from an outside source.
Yeah. And it's hard to find, like, especially, I grew up with a very codependent patterning.
Yes.
Gave all my power away. Everything was outside of myself.
All
I
things.
didn't love myself,
Yes.
And so it's the most potent doorway to enter. And then sometimes we don't even feel like we have access to it because no one gave us, like we were talking about with Kim, like, we didn't have that patterning. So it's like, can I do this? This is awkward. Is this allowed? What is this? Is this selfish? And it's like, just, if you're in that boat, it's so safe and nothing bad happens with it. Only good happens with it.
Yeah,
and
I
we
just
can-
wanted to,
learn.
what came through my head was heart math. Right?
Yes.
Like, that's
Yeah.
a massive
Yeah.
company that really studies love. I had done that once with their little thing that you put on your finger to see
Yeah.
how aligned I was with love. And it took me a minute to get in. And one of the facilitators was like, think of something or somebody, and it could be a dog that you just absolutely adore, and just bring in like the first moment you saw that someone or saw that animal, and you just had that heart, feeling. And that was what brought me into the frequency of love, was really getting in touch with it was a dog that I have lost now. Still miss her so much.
I know.
But it was like, oh, well, I guess I can resonate. So just, a thought. So if you're having trouble with this frequency, then maybe think of something, a memory, and just get so wrapped up in that memory from that time. Yeah. It's beautiful.
And also, I'm not a huge fan, and it's okay if you are, this is just me personally or anyone. I'm not a huge fan of affirmations because sometimes they don't have a resonance of truth for us. So I
Agreed.
don't want you to leave thinking, oh, I just have to say I love you if you don't necessarily feel it yet. It's more finding that phrase or finding that truth that that feels a little soft and you can allow it in. So some of the first self-love phrases I learned were like, it's okay, just that. Like, it's okay you're having this internal experience right now. It's okay you're nervous. It's okay you're excited. It's okay you're numb. It's okay. And just it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay
Yeah.
you're afraid of being betrayed. That's enough. And so it doesn't have to go to like, I'm the best person in the world and I deserve all good things if you don't feel that yet.
Right, right.
But you can get there.
Yes.
We don't have to lie to ourselves is all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's more important that we resonate with what we're saying. And if it's just giving ourselves grace by it's okay, then let that be. You know, be happy with, you know, just know that that moves and changes as well.
Always.
Yeah.
Let's take one more pat. I've been watching you walk around in the back. You're up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jamie.
Hello.
So nice to experience everything with everyone too. It's
Oh, yay.
yeah, I have to keep my body moving because I'm feeling vertigo or lightheadedness a lot. And then it seems to you know, in the evening it gets more balanced. But do you have a message for me on that or?
Tell me a little bit more about it so I can feel into you.
Well, it's, you know, I just feel unbalanced. And so I get guided to get up and walk around and move my body. And I get out in nature. I have to be out in nature with the trees and everything too. And I do meditations out there with the trees.
Have you learned about, studied, tell me where you're at with this because we're just meeting, masculine and feminine energy balance?
Oh, okay. Sometimes I call on that too, so I should call on that more.
Do you know this? Like, what do you know about that world?
Well, you know, on the left side, it's the female, on the right, it's the male. And
Okay.
so I was saying, I call on my divine feminine and divine masculine to be in harmony and balance.
Well, you got it. That's exactly the phrase right there. I have a sense of there's something that wants to come more into balance with this. So that would be a beautiful world for you to explore. And so just for now, and for everybody who's listening as well, with just the small amount of time we have, masculine is a lot about doing and feminine is a lot about being.
Yes.
Masculine is thinking, leading, analyzing, all beautiful. And then the feminine is the intuition, the feeling, the depths, the darkness, the moving, the dancing.
Yes, yes. And so when I feel a strange energy and I don't know where it's coming from, I'm guided to breathe through my heart and send it up.
So
stay in more in the moment, stay in the moment of time.
Yes, yes. When I say these words to you, and you may know or you may not know, are you aware of, you're like, maybe I'm a little out of balance in this area? Do you overthink, overdo, overpush, any of that, or no?
No.
Okay.
Sometimes worries come up, but I just kind of send them love and then I have to feel it. Feeling it is important.
Yes. Okay, good. Yeah. Be curious. My instinct for you is just to be curious about which part of my masculine and feminine want to come back into balance.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for your your help. I appreciate this.
Yeah.
And Pat, if you can stay on, we have a medical intuitive coming on later, so that she might give you a little more awareness about that too. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Jamie, let's talk a little bit about the program that you offered the group. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the page.
Thank you for that. I know that you
like a whole
put this
course
together for us specifically, and so this is a way to dive a little bit deeper to to work with you specifically, and I think these concepts, and while they're deep, period. but sometimes we can, in our minds, think, "Oh, it's easy," but really, it's the acknowledgement and the actual work that gets us more, like, gets us free. You know, we can conceptually do all these things. Yeah, I do that. But sitting down, doing the things, going through the work, having the acknowledgement, wouldn't you say that's the most important parts that we kind of sometimes overlook?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And wouldn't you even say, like, especially, I always say, call it, I don't want to say a coach's curse or anything like that, but if you're a coach or you're a facilitator, sometimes it's even, and you're a light worker or a healer, like many people on these calls, sometimes it's things that we kind of overlook because we know this stuff, and it's important to work with someone.
Yeah, it's, for me too, I always say, be around somebody who embodies where you'd like to go next. Because they're living it, and so
Yes.
being in group, being in circle, immersing yourself in knowledge and study or just embodiment of it, really helps override those, not necessarily override, but heal from those old patterns that are sometimes screaming a little bit louder,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about this 8-week course
Cool.
that you put together for everyone. It really takes you through kind of all the steps to find yourself, right? To find the light worker within you.
Yeah, these were, I put together 8 topics that were most asked to me. And they were
Okay.
like, okay, these things are recurring. What are the steps to really live in your authentic truth, to really shine your light, to really live your soul purpose, honestly? Like why you came on the planet, how can I assist you in connecting to that and living in that and healing this pain that's in the way? And
Yes.
these were the doorways to it.
So it's like on the spot research that you did with all the people that have been asking all these questions.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
One thing I get about you is that you are, quite more embodied than some of the people that are in this world, maybe even, right? You just are like, yeah, I'm here. Let's go through this, more than other people are just in this like, yeah, I'm struggling with this, fighting with this. I'm, throwing my arms up around this. And you're just, yeah, I've done my work. Let's go.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
happy to
Exactly.
support you.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the package or the different
Yeah,
courses.
can we go through each item real quick and what they're
Please.
going to learn?
Sure. So lesson 1 is your heart's longings. This was an exercise that I did years ago and I still continue to do, where you really tap into your own truth, your own heart. And I notice this from all the people I've worked with as well. We're not told like dream big, desire, like have the whole candy shop. You're just like, oh shoot, can I have a bite of the Twix, please? That would be nice. Oh wait, no, I'm allergic to that. I can't have that. And we're like, why do I feel unsatisfied in life?
Right.
This,
Isn't that like I guess most people have some level of dissatisfaction no matter what.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough. And we're not, again, this lesson is that permission. This lesson is like, okay, let me find the sanctuary within my own heart's voice. What do you want? What do you desire? And it's just reinstilling, reconnecting to that voice within you that has got your back, that wants these great things with you. So it's opening that permission.
So then we've got part 2 for your heart longing.
Yeah. So it's just split into 2 parts, what I just said.
Awesome. I imagine it does take a little bit of 1 and 2 to really get in there, right? Like this.
I think it takes more than 1 and 2, but it's
Definitely
it
facilitated.
all helps.
Yes, because we're not used to it. And then lesson
Right.
2 brings it to life. It's like, okay, now I have an awareness of what's going on inside of me. How do I actualize this? So I teach tools of how to, manifesting is an interesting word. I see it now also more as like magnetizing. So how can I be an energetic match? How can I be in that frequency of love, that resonance of love, to call forth that which I desire. So I
Yes.
teach how to bring it
Love
into
that.
reality.
Yeah, it's well said.
Yeah. And these are just the main light worker blocks I've come across. The fear of
Yeah.
shining. Especially like, you know, the word I get a lot for myself is Jamie, you're a light. And as beautiful as that is, that can be scary when you come into a family. You know, we talked about this earlier, like that doesn't see that doesn't understand it. We don't have
Yes.
schools for light workers when we're, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so there's some work that we need to do to clear that and release that. So I take us through some tools. If anybody is like the same, yeah, fear of being seen, fear of being heard, fear of being abundantly rewarded for who I am, we clear that in this lesson.
That's huge.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then this one I love. I used to lead classes just on this lesson at the meditation studio where I taught, which is getting in touch with your purpose. Like what actually brings me joy, what lights me up, just to gain some clarity and direction in why am I on the planet. And then for me, one of the things, and you know, Jenith, what you were saying before of like, okay, let's do the work. Now I'm here to do it. One of my biggest medicines is courage. And so this lesson really is that like fire lit of offering you bravery, offering you courage, because if you're on this call, you are a leader. Like we're here doing
Yes.
it differently. And so
Yes.
yes, from one leader to another, this is a reminder of, hey, this is who you are. And it is going to require you that doorway and that medicine of a little bit more courage so that you can go shine your light and live your purpose in the world.
Yeah, everyone needs that potion.
Yes.
It was funny when I think it was Kim who was talking about like not speaking and finding her voice. When I started these sessions, I was so like shaking in my shoes, and even getting the speakers, you know, when we started this, we were bringing in like some really high-end speakers from The Secret and things like that. And I was like, literally my whole body was like full on shake, but I had a partner, it wasn't Leonka at the time, that pushed me. And he was like, if you want this, we have to. And, you know, and it was just those little baby steps that I like forced myself to do it. And then finally I got better at it.
It's hard to imagine you being in that space, but it is kind of nice to know that with facilitation, with like you said, being around the people that are embodying it, that we can have the invitation to step up and be bigger and be better, and then we get better at it.
Totally.
So, wow. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
Sometimes
huge.
we don't realize courage is exactly just what we needed. Like maybe we already have the skills, we already have the knowledge, we already have the intuition. It's like, oh, I just need this. It's in We Bought a Zoo, that movie with
Yeah.
what's his name?
I can't remember much about
Matt
it.
Damon. He says, if you could just have 5 seconds of courage. And I love that because sometimes it's the, oh God, to send this email or to go live or to pick up the client call or whatever it is. It's like, I can do that. It's just a terribly uncomfortable feeling.
Well, there is so much judgment in this world that you want to put a front because you know whatever you do, you're going to be judged.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you can pretend that you're not being judged and go for it, but in general, you might as well put your best foot forward because you are going to be judged. It's kind of my point of view.
Yeah.
So I'm like, judge me, judge me. We had a coach that said, the more judgment you can receive, the more money you make.
Yeah. Like almost $5,000 per judgment.
$5,000 per strong judgment.
I'll pay.
But you have to receive the judgment. There's a big difference
almost
between
like
fighting a judgment.
I always do
right?
this, like brush your shoulders off. It's like that you know, what you explained to, I think it was Kim at the beginning of the call, it was that it won't even phase you, like it won't even matter. You will be bigger than the judgment and it won't permeate through. And that's how I received it. But I think you say much better words. Okay,
Well,
number
bravery,
7.
yes. We choose bravery.
We like that lesson. We like that lesson.
Yes.
So 7, I'm a huge teacher of mind, body, spirit. I believe it's real. I take a holistic view of let's integrate it on all levels. And 7 brings it home to the brain, to wiring it in the body, to saying, I have all of this beautiful self-love. Now, how do I integrate it on a brain level and actually rewire my neural pathways to be in alignment with my truth, not my socialization? So we move that in that lesson, which is so important.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
And then we've got 8, which is a oh, there's 9.
Yes, I think we added in a bonus lesson. So lesson 8 is oh, you know what? I think that's why
1
the
and
reason
2.
I had said 8, 1 and 2 is both about heart's longings. So from pain to gratitude is interesting. This takes us out of victim consciousness, which is so innocent. I was there for a really long time, and when we're living at that level, life just looks like all pain, and it's so challenging. And again, I'm a self-love teacher. We must meet ourselves with love in that space. But when we start to see from the eyes of gratitude of how could this be happening for me? Oh my God, does that clear so much energy and show you how extraordinary life is? And so I just give you glasses to look from a completely different lens to offer you the relief of, I've never seen my life from this perspective.
Yeah.
Great. Well, it's funny with gratitude, and this is for me.
Yeah.
We had a whole conversation with Jen Huff on that, just like really falling in love. And one of the things I said on that call that kind of shocked, I think, the audience at the moment was like, if something hasn't shown up in your life and you are deeply in gratitude because you know that it's coming to you, then your frequency is as if it's already shown up.
Yes.
Right. And I just think, I guess when I was younger, I didn't think much about gratitude. I just didn't think about gratitude at all. I just went forward in life. But as I've gotten older, I feel it's time now to, really be in gratitude, even for those things that haven't even shown up in our lives. So
Yeah.
love that
And
you put that in.
That's a tough one. And sometimes too, the gratitude I enjoy as well on the other end is like, thank you for this pain that I don't even know what the gift is in this yet. Like, thank you for the gift that is about to arrive through this that I'm unaware of.
Oh, amen,
Yeah.
sister. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That takes a lot of courage to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last lesson is just called soul connection. And what that does is it's literally a plugging you back into your soul. Again, because when we're not given permission to be these leaders of light and in our purpose and experiencing the truth of who we are, we do leave our bodies. We do disconnect from the truth of who we are to stay safe. So this is like, after we've done that healing, I want to come back home to me and to give myself permission to be the totality of who I am and receive the abundance as that version in the world. So this is that final plug-in back in to send you out into the world.
That's right. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Wow. What a great package. It just seems like it really. Now, are each of these audios, are they audios or videos? And about how
Videos.
long do they're videos?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long do they run in general, or are
They're
they
all different. They're all different. You got 20 minutes.
Okay.
You know? And we do real-time healing in them. And so, yeah, they're all a little bit different and dynamic.
Nice.
That's
Yeah,
fabulous.
digestible, not too much, because I know how full our lives can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jamie, for putting that together.
You're
Do we
welcome.
want
I'm
to take one
excited.
more?
I was actually going to ask her if do you have any last words here that you feel that the audience in general would love to know?
Yeah, let's tune in. Let's see what this crew would need. What does this crew need to hear today to be liberated, to feel relief in their bones?
I like that. Maybe that is the message.
Yeah. Well, I'm just hearing too, it's okay. It's okay to feel. It's okay to be. It's okay. You came here to be who you are. And if you remember that you came here to be who you are, that's the courage that's required to move you through. And that it's okay to be different than those that came before you, because you're here to live at a newer, expansive, elevated level of consciousness, and that it isn't wrong that you're different than them. Sometimes we can carry this guilt of those that came before me didn't have so much, so how dare I shine or have more? And what spirit is saying is, no, 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 that's divine perfection. They came here to be the one before you, to be that step, to take that next level, to the next step to stand upon. So it's exactly as it's meant to be. And so your ancestors applaud you for going farther, even if they're the ones in physical form aren't showing it. The non-physical ancestors are applauding you for going higher than anyone has had the capacity to do before. And it's who you are. It's who you are and why you're here and who you're meant to be.
Wow, that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jen. That was
Yeah.
amazing. Amazing, amazing session. If you are watching the replay and you're looking for the special offer, it will be somewhere on this page. If you're watching the live stream, it will be in the caption below. So guys now. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording here, but we can continue yapping.